unless you have a project car that sits and the fuel drains out or whatever, and then you wind up with air in that system, you're not gonna get corrosion.
All right, Ryan, what are we looking at right now? What are we?
All right, so we call this free BMW. And we call it that because this is gonna be my daughter's first car, and we got it for free. So, but this car has been around for way over 10 years actually at this point in time. This car has had a system on it for, I don't know, 8 years probably. I'm trying to think, this was my mother-in-law's car. And when they moved to Texas, my father-in-law wanted to run it on E85, so we threw a system. I might have even had a system on it before then. I gotta think about that. This, I remember it having one of the super early, our really early Commanders. But why we're doing a video on this random 650i BMW that's got like 170,000 miles on it is because we see a lot of the videos about like corrosion and things like that. So I don't even know how many miles this car has on it with the E85. It's a lot. It's lived quite a life. It's, like I said, it's got just about 170,000 miles on it right now. And it's had a Commander on it and been running on E85 for the better part of a decade on this car. Lots of E85, lots of miles. I mean, it's sat out and the dash is like melted inside because it sat out in the sun once it had the issue that I had to fix, which was nothing to do with E85, it's an oil leak. And when they have this oil leak, you pretty much have to take the engine out to fix it. So the repair costs were way more than the car was worth. That's when we got it for free, and I told my daughter that I would help her fix it up if she was willing to work on it, and we did. And we spent a couple of days and we fixed that oil leak for under $3 and fixed a few other things, did some maintenance while we had it apart, but we're into it a couple $100 at this point in time, and it's well, I just spent a couple $100 more on tires. This car is old, it's had a Commander on it for a long time, it's run on E85 for a long time, and so long, in fact, I believe this is a prototype part we built, this adapter to go from the BMW line, which is an 8mm. So from this adapter goes from the BMW's smaller fuel line size to the GM sensor size, which is a 3/8. So this is raw aluminum, as you can see. This is not anodized, it's not painted any kind of coating on it. So if the internet is correct, after however many years, however much E85 and all that, this should be full of corrosion or about ready to fall apart or something. So we were running some tests on our new sensor on this, so we had this apart and we noticed that we did not see any of that. So we're gonna do a video right now and show you, we've been running it since then, but we'll show you how much corrosion it has picked up over the years of running E85 through bare aluminum. So we have one of our sensors on here right now for testing. Let's see if we can get this popped off. It's probably gonna spray fuel everywhere, so we need to be ready for that. All right, okay, so drain the fuel out. So let's look at all this corrosion in here. And I don't see any.
That looks brand new.
Yeah, so like I said, this is the better part of a decade running E85. Can ethanol cause corrosion on aluminum? Scientifically, yes. What I'm gonna say about why we're not seeing that here is what I've said in many other instances. There's never any air in this fuel line. This is right before the engine, so it always has fuel in it. So the oxygen is what is required to cause that corrosion. This is why we don't see any issues with fuel lines, fittings, rails, and whatnot, is because unless you have a project car that sits and the fuel drains out or whatever, and then you wind up with air in that system, you're not gonna get corrosion. So it takes several things to make that corrosion possible, because this, per the internet, should be disintegrated to the point of falling apart. And as you can see, it looks like we just pulled it off of the CNC machine and stuck it on here. So
yeah.
You can't get any more long-term test data than that. So this has been a well-used fitting and it's fine. So all the new ones we make are anodized. Like I said, that's why I saw this one and I didn't even remember making any that weren't anodized. So this must have been one of the first. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the very first ones. That's, there you go. That's the update. And the reason this isn't plugged in is because we have our sensor plugged in down here. It's plugged into our sensor, so we've been testing, A/B testing back and forth between our AFD eSense and the GM sensor. And so we actually have the adapters on this one, anyways, to the BMW size, so it's zip tied on right now just for testing, but you wouldn't even need an adapter or a line. We have the right size male and female fittings, so it would just go right in between the stock line for a permanent installation here. Not relevant to what we're talking about here. The corrosion is not an issue as long as there's no oxygen present. Is kind of the whole thing we're trying to get to there or show in this video. So I don't know if there's a better way to show that. We did some pictures a long time back of some headers of our M3 after running E85 for 40,000 miles, and the header was literally so clean you could wipe your finger in it and there was like almost no soot, like almost totally clean on the inside of the header. Obviously that's on the exhaust side, but everyone complains about or full of rumors of corrosion and stuff, and as you can see, it's just not an issue. So kind of, you know, proof's in the pudding right there, I guess. Whatever the saying you want to insert, there you go. There's your, you know, quite a long-term test mule. Very apparent what we're seeing there is that there is not corrosion. So.